The chilled air cuts to the core in a Paris winter, especially as a Texan. If you don't have the right coat, that wind, it'll make your toes curl. They call it the city of light and the city of love for a reason. It's stunning in every season. As an artist, I've spent my entire career writing, painting, clicking a camera, and crossing borders, and coming home to America to express this incredible lineage, a texture, and stories that I observe within other cultures. These artworks create narratives, dispelling a delusion of difference in our worthiness. They illuminate the stories within our collective of a hopeful, unified, and visionary future. Painting and poetry become this incredible, endless frontier in this way. They speak about who we are as a whole, boundless and infused by our global connection, this diversity of spice, tapestry, history, a collective consciousness that creates a magnificent thing. Today I've decided to paint with my words and to take you to a season in Paris. So let's set the stage. You are in a comically teeny tiny art studio nestled on a very historical street right in between an old garden and a cathedral, where Hemingway writes his first major novel. There's a giant poem in French outside the window by an old ship captain called The Drunken Boat. Translating this piece becomes an anchor for your trip. It's unique in that it's written through the lens of this drunken ship coming to Europe on an epic voyage. I traveled to Paris with one big question in my mind: why do so many great artists come to this one city, the city of light? I wrote my answer in the form of this piece, a poem to the poem on my wall. You were there all along. Long before the stars collided and called our birth into existence, you spoke. A captain, a sailor, a queen, and horse-drawn steps, standing in the echoes of what the cosmos once kept. Wedged between garden and cathedral stone, where Hemingway's dreams were brilliantly sown, the bells keeping rhythm, centuries of chime, intentions are whispered from soul to the sky. And as the world keeps on turning, centuries passing by. What happened to building things the way we once knew, with precious stones and vision so true? Strong things, centuries they stand, carved deeply with the patience by the soul of a master hand. There's mosaics and gold plate and arches that rise, spaces that liberate and open the eyes. There's candle-lit corridors and grandiose, godly, gilded columns grow into your gleaming stars. The cobblestones here, they speak. Modern women's high heels echoing the sounds of once horse-drawn steps. Clip-clop, clip-clop, click-click on the street. It's midnight in Paris where the old and new world meet. With wine-soaked love, philosophy, and jazz, where poetry slips from your teeth like honey. It's all a process, like winter into spring. Take me to the garden where the sunlight gleams, where in the dead of winter the rain streams and there's shortened days of faded light and the moonbeams can reach all the way down to your roots at night. There's fur coats and hot wine and bolognese and pot roast and cozy weather for sipping melted chocolate and listening to a symphony. The garden in winter transforms her grace. Growing in silence, she awaits her place. Bare and naked, she dives in, dreaming of the sun's touch to wake her within. A season where rest is productivity. And growing deep creates the most stability. A season. That's what we've named these earthly transitions, mimicking the changes within ourselves, except our leaves fall differently. Our blooms are not on us, but within us. And our creeping vines are actually invisible flowing veins of energy manifested into buildings, projects, influence. And they develop a cadence and become a voyage all within itself. Humankind's seasonal unfolding can often feel like an invisible show. So when Earth's season spoke, I listened, observing the process of winter into spring, this creeping crossing of time. The flowering trees take their place on center stage, leaving the bare limbs of their collaborators as spring doesn't spring all at once. The cherry blossoms, they're the stars of this show, the first big act, exuding full colors and glorious blooms that attract crowds similar to that of the masterpiece Mona Lisa. Nature's smile, enigmatic and mysterious, awe-inspiring magnificence, yet fragile. Her process, so consistently inspiring to rest, bloom, shine, and let go. Timing is everything, yet time itself takes its time, a game of chess, where even the simple pawn has the ability to checkmate the king. It's all a game of mastery, the art of living, that is, asking you the same question that these cathedral bells sing. How will you spend your one precious day in the garden? A poem arises centuries ago, speaking in a language that I didn't know, and then out of the blue, or perhaps all along, a poem spoke loud and clear, a language familiar to my English ear, and the words would so vibrantly appear, desire and amour. And light as a cork, I danced on these waves. I looked up, searching for love in a world filled with hate. Living to radiate joy, I create, and it's a process. Like winter into spring, let us trade gunshots for birdsong and hate for a love that lasts long. Polyester for silk and organic cotton, and this greedy environmental destruction for the protected, sparkling clarity of a river that should never be forgotten. Let us watch the willow grow and become shade for its adoring lovers, its vines melting with mesmerizing melancholy, holding space for those watching the sun gracefully merge into the water. In a world often spinning so fast, poetry and art take seconds and makes them last. It cuts through you like a river. It makes your soul just a little bit bigger. There's gold-gilded ceilings, unrobed sculptures, and oil paintings, marble that gleams everywhere, chocolates and perfumes, and long, long, long walks. A lifetime of imagery has moved into our heads, pushing this troubled past further to bed. It's a process, like winter into spring, and I loved coming home to you, to the poem on my wall. Held me strong and unassumingly so, soaking my inspired, tired bones in a sonnet's rhythm, illuminating the silver lining of everything, this divine algorithm. You see, we are drenched in our history, finding ourselves on the stone steps where masterpieces remain, seeking no approval because we know it in our veins, raw and unclaimed. We are the Holy Grail. We have been imprinted with a language that we do not speak, the language of texture and light, color, the scent of sound. We are unbound. We're temple stewards, and some of us just a car full of clowns. The language of art consistently breaking the grounds, capturing the things beyond the capability of sound. We have dedicated entire palaces to things of the past. cradling stolen treasure where people marvel and measure with an ever-forming, magnificent crowd, mesmerized by the gentle curve of an old Italian smile. History becomes encapsulated. Our abstracted minds become form, carved into ash onto cave walls and spun into pottery, woven into tapestry. There's furniture carved for kings and queens, and these humble mediums of painting and drawing, imbuing our lives with illuminated magnificence. It takes time, like winter into spring, a language requiring no gender, no border, no name, just symbol and shape and flame. There's stories that thunder of peace and war. There's echoed in the bodies only wanting more. There's lines that whisper what only words collude. There's timeless truth always in the classic nude. We have loved ourselves for ages. We've carved our dreams into stone-bound pages, chasing what we want and need, sowing both the flower and the weed. Some hands careful, others empowered, so unwise. We are swept along by the winds of change and the restless skies, and circuits are now dreaming. How far we have come. Looking through master eyes, AI stumbles, but so do the wise. We're flawed in reaching code and clay. Together we hope to shape a brighter day. Humankind, we're a process, like winter into spring. There's a spark in the silence. There's art in our veins. Eyes open to listen, breaking the chains we see with your spirit and hear with your heart. Experience the unbound language, the world of art. It's Paris on a Tuesday afternoon. Butterfly, simple, parakeet, sweet. Young children in neon vest where small hands meet in the grand museum and learn of Chagall. Such nuance to it all. To live slow in a world built fast, to let the heavy things go and release the past, to plan ahead but be open and bright, because when the wind blows, we must be light. The blue sky inevitably turns gray, only for a meager flock of pigeons to tear you open. My dear, don't worry. A rainbow will appear. Like winter into spring, it's a process. What an incredible world we've inherited to hold. A cosmic speck hurling through darkness and gold with a dangerous and beautiful twist of free will. This epic celestial playbill. A butterfly flutters and the storm begins. There's a wave to our own intention, calling for a divine intervention. Big Bang sparked and destiny reveals a dream. The stars aligned before we could even witness them gleam. Wrapped in a language that we do not know, we grow, we change, and we will break through, and we will come out in a garden blooming, born anew.